What's up and welcome back? It is spooky season. Is that a Marlon Brando voice? Am I doing a Marlon? I'm gonna get rid of that voice. I think it's Marlon Brando. I'm John Stark from MovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and this is A Quiet Place, Day 1. Be very quiet. What if I did the whole film in a whisper? Now the aliens would still get me. So I'm not gonna whisper. But this film has audio descriptions on Paramount Plus currently. That's where I saw it. And yeah, I didn't see it in theaters. And it stars Lupita Nyong'o, Joseph Quinn, um, Alex Wolff, Jaimin Hansu. That's about it. That's where it's going to stop on the I know those people line. It's not directed by John Krasinski because, interestingly, he decided to do If, which I'm sure he's deeply regretting. But at this point, just based on box office performance, the two films, Quiet Place won over If. It outgrossed If. It's also a better movie. Not that I hate If, but it's just a better movie. Anyway, I'm a blind film critic, so I have a blind audience, and I'm wearing a purple hat backwards with black sunglasses and a Punisher t-shirt. I really love the audio description track for this film. Like, fuck what the movie's about. Anyway, this audio description track is a film that we wouldn't be able to watch. This is like, this film is unwatchable, and on like the truest form of. I say that a lot with films that don't have audio description because it's like we're missing a lot of the film, we're missing chunks, and it's like you kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like something could kind of piece the film together, and it's like you could kind of get vibes. This is unwatchable. I can already tell you this. I mean, they barely speak in this film. They speak for a while at the beginning, and then like there's basically once the shit happens, they don't speak anymore. And there are like one or two scenes maybe with like some whispering in it, and until the film ends, and it's just like it's basically like an hour and a half of no dialogue and just movement. Um, so I don't know how you would possibly know what was going on in this film if you didn't have audio description, if you were blind. So this is a film where it's like, thank God for audio description, because this film, I wouldn't even fuck with it. I'd just be like, no, uh, no, kill it with fire. It's unwatchable. But luckily it is. So it has one of the best audio description tracks of the year because, as I said, there's no dialogue to disrupt the audio description. So the audio description narrator is just going hard all the time. I love it. I know it feels like sometimes when I do my like year-end lists, like best of, I'm always picking the film that has like the most. And that's true to some extent because you don't want a film that has all of this opportunity to give you this rich world of audio description that's about like an alien invasion that's destroying New York, and it not to feel like the most. You know, I mean, like there's people are getting killed left and right, people are getting snatched. Like you just can't do this film. You can't create the theme and the mood and the horror and the terror, the violence, the gore, all that kind of stuff. There's a fucking cat here, man. The cat is literally like a co-lead here, basically. I would say Joseph Quinn is not number two. He's number three billing. The cat is number two billing. Frodo has more screen time, I think, than Joseph Quinn does. Joseph Quinn isn't picked up until later on in the film, but we're always with Lupita Nyong'o and Frodo, and he's in like the whole film. Like this is the quietest cat anybody's ever had. Like this would be a way to sell cats to people who are not cat people. Be like, well, I don't like cats. It's like, you like Frodo. Dude walks on a leash. You know, he makes no sound. Where's this cat from? It's almost like it's like it defies logic. Like it's almost too good to be true. Like, wait, you're telling me this cat makes no sound at all? Ever? There's like one scene where he purrs. I was like, come on. Come on now. Anyway, yeah, the cat just never is. He's so quiet in this film. He's surviving a quiet place. You know, I don't know. It's weird. So it actually kind of took me out of the film a little bit because I maybe just my experience with cats. I was like, I've never had a cat that's that quiet before. That's never meowed. You know what I'm saying? Like never. This cat never. Spoiler alert: the cat never makes a sound. It is the weirdest thing. It's so bizarre. Um, it's just like the whole film. Uh, anyway, but it is like it's a therapy cat or whatever for her. So I guess somebody's gonna be like, well, it's well trained, and it's like you train it to never make a sound ever. Like wow, cool. Anyway, so Frodo the cat is gonna be he's gonna be the animal everybody talks about this year. He's just gonna take over. Uh, if there's any sort of critics group out there that gives an award to an animal, it's gonna be Frodo. I don't even know conceptually what other animal could take it away from Frodo at this point, but he's in too much of the movie to not win any sort of like animal acting or like most prominent animal related to the film would be. It's hard to say anything about Lupita's performance because she doesn't get to talk in the beginning when we find out that she's I guess sort of spoiler alert, but it's like it's really right at the front of the film. She's dying of cancer. She's like terminal. She's like a terminal diagnosis. I think it's cancer. And the whole film is about her going out. She's like, well, if I'm gonna go, then I want to go enjoying some stuff on my last day or whatever. So she wants to go and she goes to the theater to see a show, and then she just really like her last thing is she just really wants a slice of pizza, just like a great New York slice of pizza, like a real, you know, like that's her whole thing. It's a quest for the best slice of pizza. It's like a horror movie version of Harold and Kumar going to White Castle. Like they just want to go to White Castle, and then these aliens have to stop them from going. You know, you're like, oh man, they just want White Castle, man. That's all they want. It's Lupita just wants a slice of pizza. Now that we have to have an alien apocalypse, now, you know, poor lady. Anyway, the film has a lot of interesting things in it with people who. I thought what was really interesting is it seems like everybody understands really quickly that these things are guided by sound, and to not make it as single. You know what I'm saying? Like really pretty quickly in this film, we as a human population seem to figure it out. And remember, this is day one, so you would think in day one we're still trying to figure out these things and like, do they have eyesight at all? Can they see anything? How do they see? No, we all figured it out pretty quickly for the sake of the film to make it interesting, I guess, to give humans a fighting chance so that people aren't just like running around all the time. Also, I thought the aliens really cleared out New York pretty quickly too. That was another thing that kind of bothered me. I was like, day one? This is day zero. And like, you know what I'm saying? Like this is the original, like they just dropped and they cleared out a city of like millions of people in like, I don't know, like 5 minutes. You know? Like, what? It was almost too much for me. It was like I felt like that scene, that part of the film could have been more of the film instead of the easier, which is they clear the streets and you're just walking through this like apocalyptic mess. Everybody's silent. There's nothing around. And it's creepy, and you're like, wow, there's no one in New York. It's like great, okay, we're Walking Dead the movie now, and got it. So yeah, I liked it. I don't think I liked it better. I definitely don't like it better than the first one. I probably like it about as good as part two, which is again not as good as the first one. It's got some cool stuff going on here. I was impressed by Joseph Quinn only because I really only conceptually know him as Eddie Munson, and this role is so far removed from Eddie Munson. I think he's British here. Like I was like, what? Is Joseph Quinn British? Because he was so believable as Eddie Munson. I was like, I just kind of expected a character that was like Eddie Munson adjacent. I kind of like, there's something about the way that Joseph Quinn played Eddie Munson that gave me the vibes that he's like Danny McBride, and he has like one level. And then, like, I thought that was going to be, you know, I thought I was like, well, they cast him because he's like Eddie Munson, sort of like Danny McBride is like many of the characters that he plays. He just has this thing that he can't shake, where he just ends up being innately perfect for the roles in which he's cast. So no, he's totally different. He's a completely different person, and I was just like, wow, this dude has range far beyond. When he started speaking, I was like, what? Are you actually British? Every once in a while, my mind is blown, and I'm like, I did not know that you were not from America. Kudos to your accent, sir, or ma'am. Um, so yeah, uh, it's not a perfect film, but it's got great audio description. Just absolutely love the audio descriptions of this film, and I would say it narrowly beats out If. There's some interesting stuff here. You do get to see more of like the aliens and what do they eat, because they obviously don't eat people because they just kind of like kill them and leave them there. And this has been sort of like evident through the other two films. Um, my favorite part of the film was uh, like, okay, so they recreate a lot of the moments from the other films. Like people figure out the sound, so they go hide out like a waterfall, which is like a fountain. So there's a fountain that's making noise, right? And obviously the aliens stay away from it because it's loud and they don't like it, and they can't stop the fountain and figure out a way how to stop it. So it ends up being a refuge for people. But there's a helicopter that's flying over. It's being like super loud, and I was like, well, they're gonna get that helicopter. They're gonna find out a way. They're gonna be like, oh, sound. Then I started getting like really sort of like existential about it. I was like, so we figure out that they can't see us, but as an alien race that somehow evolved in a way that they were able to get here. Remember, you know what I'm saying? Like that's always the thing about alien movies, is when you have these weird aliens like this, it's like we're at a place where we're like, we've just figured out how to like float outside of our own orbit. These guys traveled across the galaxy, you know? So you would think highly intelligent, right? Um, and they appear to have brought some sort of way to grow their food here. I don't want to tell you what it is. It's not that, really not that spoilery, but they have food. So it answers the question for anybody who's like, well, they don't seem to eat the humans, so what are they eating? Well, here you go. Something alien from their planet. Um, but have they figured out that we can see them? Like if you're an alien that comes from a planet that does not have sight, like the way we have sight, that has sort of like echolocation type sight, like do you understand what sight is, like as an alien, like conceptually? Like would you get that? Like did these, because they seem to not, you know what I'm saying? Like these aliens aren't smart enough to know that we can see them, but they can't see us. Like when we're being, anyway, I think maybe if we're going to do another Quiet Place movie, exploring that would be, how smart are these aliens? Because right now they seem to just totally hunt based on, oh shit, something made a sound, you know? Um, and it's so inconsistent sometimes. Like sometimes somebody will make a sound and you're like, oh man, that person's dead. And then they're not. And then other times like something makes a sound and it's like, oh my God, he just died because of that. Like somebody ripped their shirt and then got killed. Like their shirt got caught on something and you hear the shirt tear and it's like, and they're like, and they're dead. It's just like, but I could list like 10 other sounds that were made over the course of the film and there are no aliens. And it's just like, cool. Uh, yeah, so is it my favorite film of the year? No. Do I think it's good? Yeah, I think it's good. I think you like it. It's sort of like a lot of the sequels we've had this year. I think they're fine. I don't. It's tough for a sequel to like actually beat the original, to actually do better than the first film. And this one just as a prequel, the thing is, it had a really fun idea, which was, oh my God, what was this like? Because let's be honest, the best part about Quiet Place Part 2 is the landing stuff. It's the whole baseball game stuff. That whole scene is the best part of that movie, hands down. So somebody was like, well, what if we did that for the whole movie? Great. So do it for the whole movie instead of doing it for like 10 minutes. And then the rest of the movie is just Lupita Nyong'o walking around being very quiet for the whole movie with her cat. Because that's what most of this movie is. Just, I don't know. Well described, though. Probably, I would say this has a shot at being my favorite audio description track of the year. So, I don't know what else is coming out this year, but without the audio description being as good as it is, I wouldn't be able to even criticize the film at the level at which I'm able to criticize it. So, there'd be nothing there to help or guide. So this is a great sort of example of excellence in audio description. Absolutely. Quiet Place, day one. So I'm going to give A Quiet Place Day One a B. I think it's fine. You'll like it. Don't not see it. Go ahead and see it. It's not really scary, but I thought the first one was. But after a while, once you kind of know what these aliens are about, then it's just like waiting for something to get picked off. And they always get picked off because they made sound. So it's like always, you pretty much have to, you have to let more people go with smaller sounds, and wait until they make a big one. You know what I'm saying? Like you almost have to, like the person with the torn shirt should have probably lived just for the sake of the franchise, because then it's just like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like then you're like, okay, so why not that sound? Where were the aliens there? So yeah, it gets really sort of nitpicky at a certain point where you're like, well, how was that not loud enough? Anyway, but yeah, it's good. I'm sure we'll get another film in this franchise. They're not terribly expensive, and they've all made money. So anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the other side.